Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Finding a real game in this galactic space future of ours is rather difficult. Many modern games are all about the cosmetics and Skinner boxes. You have to go back to the mists of history, back to the past, to truly find something worth playing, back all the way to those primordial days of 2016. Titanfall was a multiplayer-only game that nobody cared about, and no one remembered the second the servers were shut down. But its sequel, Titanfall 2, included a single-player campaign. Man, you'd think someone would have invented one of those before. That allowed the players to step into the boots of Generic Man while he piloted a giant mech. Well, maybe not a giant mech, but a moderately sized mech. And gave us an excellent video game experience. So let's boot it up and take a look.
Titanfall 2 is a game. You play as a hero dude and blast through multiple complex levels and shoot a whole bunch of bad guys. And sometimes you control a talking mech and blast other mechs. And generally, you go through the entire game having a lot of fun. No loot boxes, no cosmetics, just fun. How hard is that? Good God, people! Titanfall 2 was developed by Respawn Entertainment and published by everyone's favorite creator killer, Electronic Arts. Don't know how a real game like this slipped past those wonderful human beings. It was published in 2016 for the PC, Xbox One, and PS4, and is a first-person shooter, a legit one where you don't sit through multiple cutscenes or endless QTEs. You still have that two-weapon rule, but I can't ask for everything. The levels are legitimate levels, not endless corridors or endless arenas. Looking at you, Doom 2016! The game lets you parkour, and it controls well and adds a fun new dimension to gameplay. The game features typical FPS objectives to make sure things don't get dull. You get a moderately sized robot buddy named BT, and you can hop inside of him and take control. And this allows you to blast those other moderately sized robos. And on top of that, the game features a diverse set of villains that are gloriously over the top. And we get boss fights, ladies and gentlemen, bloody boss fights, and they all tie into the story and have some degree of emotion to them, and the game even features selectable dialogue. I about had a heart attack when that showed up. You can choose what you want to say to your Robro. It does not matter all that much in terms of the game's overall story, but I'm glad it's there. You also get a time travel mechanic late game that creates some great emergent gameplay. Have I somehow traveled back to 2011 all of a sudden? We also get some cool cutscenes here and there, and they don't go on over long. You play as a generic kid pilot that fell into being a mech pilot due to your mentor dying, and you gotta save your bros from an alien space weapon. None of this would have been that out of place back in the late 90s/early 2000s, but in today's world it stands out in that it gives the player what they want, and this is all in a game that allows you to use that super GPU you bought hoping to play real games, instead of games that are either 20 years old or garbage. If you've never heard of Titanfall 2, I highly recommend giving it a playthrough, as it shows what gaming in the future was supposed to be like. Graphically, we got a game from 2016, and as such, it looks excellent. Great textures, well-detailed 3D models, good-looking guns, including the Space M1A. Man, that's just a trash-tier Space M1 Garand. Music is generic and forgettable, and the voice acting is quite good, and it's kind of like an anime. The actors put in memorable and over-the-top performances, and the voice actor for BT is the best by far, and has overtones of Peter Cullen's Optimus Prime. The story for Titanfall 2 can best be described as Star Wars filtered through some anime, filtered through some Apple Store aesthetic, finally painted in the colors of a Michael Bay movie. Titanfall 2 stars fresh-faced soldier Jack Cooper, who is ready to take on the whole... Who are we fighting? The Empire or something? The game really doesn't do a good job of world building. You're part of some militia that is fighting an evil empire, I think, and in the game you fight some mercs that work for a mercenary company that is affiliated with the evil empire, and they're fighting the good guys because they are bad or something. I played through Titanfall 2, and even I'm not sure of what the overarching plot is. The game primarily concerns Jack Cooper's battle to survive the evil forces of the Decepticon, or whoever the villain is. The titular titans for which Titanfall is named are not really titanic. Hell, they're barely as big as a Gundam. They're supposed to be sapient, and BT here acts like he is self-aware, but the others are not, or at the very least, the other Titans are pretty quiet. The game showcases a fairly basic buddy relationship between Jack and BT, but here's the thing, it's at least there, and it's not just generic dude being quiet and stoic, or being edgy man doing the edgelord routine. The game begins with you being trained by Red Shirt McRedding. He is your mentor, and he wants you to do well as a member of the Good Guys. Sure hope nothing happens to him. Oh, I did not see that coming. That's the Star Wars right there. So after he dies, spoiler alert, you don the uniform and armor of a Titan jockey. You get a Dead Space helmet and the ability to parkour and somehow survive 1,000-foot drops with nothing more than fingerless gloves for protection. So, your objective for most of the game is to knock over bosses, and finally you learn that the bad guys have an alien artifact that can cause time disruptions, and at the end of the game you face off with Discount Vader and stop the bad guys from blowing up a good guy planet. Couple of strange things happen though. BT gets damaged, but you save his brain, which is in his eye. Also in his eye, there's a super pistol. That's your Michael Bay influence right there. Also, there's another weird part where the good guy fleet attacks the big enemy base, but they go super low to the ground to do it. Shouldn't spaceships go in space and not close to the ground? That's your J.J. Abrams influence right there. It's a cool battle, so I'll allow it. At the end of the game has an emotional moment where BT sacrifices himself to stop the Eviltons. This sadly kind of gets ruined a bit later. The ending has the bad guy planet blow up, and Jack gets to become a real mech pilot. Sadly, he talks about he only kind of liked BT in a rather blasé way, despite the fact that BT saved his life on multiple occasions. That's your Michael Bay right there. All my complaints aside, this is a damn fine game with kick-ass gameplay and a story that, while a bit goofy in places, still tells a decently compelling narrative. Multiplayer-only games are often forgotten almost as soon as the next product comes out, and for a game to truly last the test of time and become truly popular, gamers need characters, no matter how simple they are. Gamers need plot and setting to get invested in, and Titanfall 2 delivers.
As of this recording, it has been 7 years since the release of Titanfall 2, and its popularity endures enough that people spend dump trucks full of money to cosplay as Jackie Boy, and you can still pick up bootleg Legos of BT. Sadly, Titanfall 3 is unlikely to happen because Titanfall has mutated into Apex Legends, which is a battle royale game that I could not touch with a 10-foot GeneralLotz pole. In any event, I'm GeneralLotz, and I'm going to wish you good Mech Assault, and good Mech Warrior 5, or whatever makes you happy.
If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and please consider leaving a like or a comment, as the algorithm desires your soul. And I want to thank all those fans who have supported this channel, both past and present.